That's a vibe. She wanna vibe. That's a vibe.
Welcome back, man, to another edition of 32 Good Minutes.
Yes, we are back in the building.
We are back in the building. It's very warm in the building. You know what I'm saying? It's a little warm already.
Hey, man, you got to take what you can get when you're not paying for it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It is absolutely free. First of all, I would like to say, as usual, thank you to our female audience who is here. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Clap it up.
Seriously. I sincerely mean that, man. Thank y'all. Again, this is just an idea that Bean and I had. Just wanting to do something where relationships get some spotlights on them or the lack thereof in Bean's situation. He is single. I am married, so it's two different perspectives. And we got women in the building who is anybody in here married? Anybody married? Yes, we got married women, single women in here. Yes, single. Anybody just dating? Complications.
Yeah, those are the good ones. Those are the good ones. The complicated ones right there.
It's complicated out here.
I mean, hey, those are the ones that they got that good story behind them.
I do want to thank everybody, man, who did listen to the very first episode of 32 Good Minutes, man. A lot of dope feedback on that.
Great feedback, man. A lot of people, a lot of women cussing me out. I like that.
You do like that.
That's good.
Why is that like a superpower of yours? You embrace being cursed out by women.
I do. I mean, because that means that you are invoking emotion that they usually don't tap into. I'm a stranger. You know what I mean? So if a stranger has the ability to be able to make you think and talk about something that you usually wouldn't have a conversation with, you know, even if it's full of curse words, I'm taking that.
A lot of women told me that they actually listened to the podcast with their significant others being, and it started dialogue in the household. That was very, very good.
That's what this is about. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. So we're about to jump into it, man. Might as well start these 32 Good Minutes, and the 32 Good Minutes start right now.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so listen, man. First in nasty news.
Nasty news.
Nasty
news.
Who
we finna talk about?
You know who we about to talk about.
Who? I mean, it's
USHERRAYMSTD.
Oh,
yes.
Man, come on, man.
Yes.
Usher. Nah, man.
Yes.
Nah.
It's horrible, man. For those that don't know, I don't know what rock you have been under, but Usher right now is looking at some very, very, very horrible charges, infecting women with herpes. Of course, you know you cannot get rid of herpes. One woman, he paid her $1 million to keep it on the low. Of course, the records leaked. The court documents leaked, and now all of us know that not only is Usher Raymond's married ass out here burning women, but he's also been doing it for a very long time.
I mean, I don't know, man. First of all, I think if he spent $1 million, he obviously spent it the wrong way.
What do you mean?
You could have got a lot of people to shoot at her for $1 million. That may trying to pay her. I know that's horrible, but I mean, hey, it's the reality if you got to do that. But I mean, the reality really is we don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's true, man.
No, we know if it's true. We do know. We know the court documents being clearly state that he paid this woman to stop talking about the herpes.
That he might have just paid her to stop talking about herpes. Like he has enough money to where it could cause confusion in his life right now, like it's doing.
So you're saying Usher does not have herpes?
I'm not saying Usher does not have herpes. I don't know what Usher has, but hits. Okay, that's what he has. I don't know nothing else. But I mean, I think it's kind of bad that you know we live in a society where something that really isn't anybody else's business, even though you're a celebrity and you kind of embrace that when you kind of take on that role. I think that it's kind of wrong that we get to pass judgment when nobody gets to shine the spotlight on your life. What if somebody put a court document out about all the stuff that's going wrong in your life? So I think we should wait for him to at least address it before we start to condemn him and kill him like they've been doing on the internet. The memes have been hilarious. But
how would he address it though, Ben? What should he have to come out and say something? Are you expecting him to come out and say something?
I mean, for what the lawsuits, I think he's gonna have to. Absolutely. I mean, you got people that's up in the lawsuits by 10 million, 20 million a day.
Yeah, one young lady, she reported that she first sued Usher because he had introduced her to the herpes.
How do you introduce somebody to herpes?
You just take the rubber off. You take the rubber off and you just put the bumps right in.
That's what you call introduction? No, that's the wrong term. You knew what herpes was before come on, man.
Well, maybe she didn't know what the bumps were. Maybe he then told her they were hair bumps.
First of all, I don't think that you can introduce anybody to herpes because herpes got a commercial with a herpes talking. It's telling you what it is. You
That's a disgusting little.
You like, I'm herpes. Yeah. That's your introduction to herpes.
Yes. Well, she's saying Usher introduced her by sleeping with her. She did not know if she had it. That was the introduction because she didn't know if she had it. When she went back and saw that she had it, she has upped it now.
Man, do you realize that every woman that Usher is trying to then had sex with in Atlanta is trying to get herpes just so they can blame it on him now? It's ridiculous, man. I just hope that whatever it is, I hope that it doesn't take away from from the legacy of music that he's given us. Because at the end of the day, that's what he's here for. He's a musician.
I'm hoping Usher don't go to jail for this. This is illegal. You cannot be going around having unprotected sex, knowingly having herpes, and giving it to people.
That's very true. And if that is the case, that is wrong, and you should not do that. There is no excuse for that. But at the same time, I don't think that we should pass judgment for a situation that we don't know the facts on fully. You know what I mean?
That's real. We do know the facts that R. Kelly has sex with a lot of women all the time. Hey, we do know that. And we also are hearing reports being that R. Kelly has a sex cult at the crib. Are you for or against the sex cult?
Listen, if they are out of the 12th grade, R. Kelly can do whatever he want to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's not the same as it was, years ago when he had that situation with the young woman.
Yes.
If these are consenting adults, then hey, cult away. And I mean, you got to think about the type of access that R. Kelly has. A lot of the women probably have been introduced to luxury that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. So if you got to choose between going back to your parents' house and sleeping in the basement or sleeping in a mansion with 6 other chicks, that's not really a hard decision to make for a lot of women, especially these days.
Go ahead, just give it up to R. Kelly and be the sex slave.
Hey, most women are sex slaves.
There's a woman that actually teaches you how to the sex moves that R. Kelly likes. He prefers the doggy style with a little bit of reverse action.
Listen,
that's what
let me tell you something. There are women who are sex slaves to dudes who work at Home Depot. So it really, that's not something that's out of the question. Like most of the time, you have that type of interaction between a lot of men and women. So if you get to live the life that R. Kelly is providing, then I think that's a whole lot easier than just, doing it for free like most women do.
Absolutely. Well, listen. All right, so listen, we're going to switch gears real quick, man, to a segment we like to introduce, and it's called Ask Bean or Ask Dot. Now, what happens is if you have a question you'd like to ask Bean from a single perspective or a question you would like to ask me from a married perspective, you can use a hashtag Ask Bean, you can use a hashtag Ask Dot, or you can just hit us at 32goodminutes at Gmail. So,
okay.
Bean, I have someone who has a question that they would like to ask Bean.
Okay, and I have someone who has a question that they would like to ask Dot, so let's kick it off.
All right, the kickoff for Bean. The question was, what is your definition of an open relationship, and would you be in one?
What is my definition of an open relationship?
Correct.
An open relationship to me is just people who have to live in the parameters of a relationship, because you have, like, a lot of people have the mentality that if the title is not attached to it, then it makes it invalid. Even though you're doing things that most people don't respect as a real relationship in regards to an open relationship, you still have to put that parameter on it to make a person feel comfortable with the status and, their status in your life, rather. So I wouldn't be in an open relationship, because if I'm in an open relationship, it's not a relationship in consent of what people think a relationship is. It's a waste of time. Why are you calling this something and trying to live within the parameters of something that doesn't match? If you're going to be in a relationship, you need to be in a relationship, the one that people, respect. You, your girlfriend, and just y'all two. If you're going to have you, your girlfriend, and be fucking other people, then you might as well not call it a relationship and just build with that person and call it whatever it is you and that person are establishing. So I wouldn't personally be in an open relationship, because it's still a relationship. You still are giving yourself the parameters to have to lie or to have to be, dishonest about anything.
If it's a relationship that's open, my definition,
because the openness really is just referring to sex. Like, most of my mentality about relationships doesn't come from the fucking. That's just what people put the most value on. I'm talking about all the other stuff that you're doing, the other 95% of a relationship that's not the 5% that's fucking. That's what really matters. So that openness that you have with somebody in a relationship is probably just dealing with you being able to fuck other people knowingly. But the comfort that you have to provide your mate, that doesn't have anything to do with fucking. And I wouldn't be in a relationship that's going to be open, because you have to be just as dishonest about what it is you feel, I think, if you're putting yourself in the parameters of calling it a relationship. That's just my opinion.
So when you say relationship, just you and a female having a relationship, that isn't something that you would ever do?
No.
So
not if I have to put it in the terms of you, my girlfriend. No.
But let me ask you this. Okay, so let me ask you this. So the relationships you have with women,
right?
What do they feel these relationships are?
I don't know what they feel they are if you have to describe it. I mean, because they don't have any understanding of anything like this until they deal with me. So it's basically whatever it is they'll choose to tell you if you ask them. I couldn't tell you. I know what I describe it as.
If the female you're dealing with is dealing with other dudes, is that a problem?
If she's honest about it and I make the decision that it's cool, no, it's not a problem. I don't care what a woman does when she's not around me, because you're a grown woman. If you don't wake up in the morning and wash your pussy, it doesn't belong to you. Therefore, she's going to do whatever she wants to do with her body and her vagina and whatever it is that is. Your job as a man is just to make sure that when she makes that decision, it's to the benefit of you as well.
Do you feel like, but here's my question with that logic, because I understand that, and that logic, like, that's valid, but at some point you're going to be 50. Right. And at 50, are you still going to want to just have these situationships and be like the old club promoter?
But that's the thing.
Like, how many club promoters you know marry?
I don't know any club promoters that are married.
Because they all live in this lifestyle. Like, I feel like when you're going to be 50 at some point, right?
Correct.
Like, and if you're
Hopefully.
50, yeah, absolutely. No, you claim that, brother. You're going to be 50 at some point. And when you're 50, are you still going to be out here just dealing with just different women? Or are you going to want somebody that you got some sort of tenure with, Bean?
The thing is, you build tenure with anybody that you're building something of strong foundation with. I'll give you an example. Did you watch the footnotes of 444?
I didn't.
The footnotes of 444, Jay-Z is talking about relationships. And he says about him and Beyonce's relationship that, you know, in the song when he says, you mature faster than me, I wasn't ready. He said, I had built this whole big reality, this big wonderful castle of life that wasn't built on the truth. So now I got to knock this whole thing down and start from scratch. That's the thing. If you're dealing with somebody like me in regards to the way I deal with women, you're not building something that's not going to be built on a foundation of truth. So we're establishing tenure with one another through dealing with each other, and it's built on reality. You know who I really am, and I get to know who you really are, because I'm forcing that to come out of you because you're not dealing with a situation that's normal. So that tenure is still tenure that you're building with dealing with any woman that you have a relationship with. It's just not in the parameters of what most people are going to respect as valid. So you still build tenure with the women that you deal with. I know I do.
So yours is more like a polygamy thought process.
No, it's not a polygamy thought process, because polygamy means that you want to get married. That doesn't.
No, or just have multiple women though.
No. It's not even about the multiple women. It's about my peace of mind to be able to do what I want to do without feeling like I'm wrong for it. That's the thing. If I can live my life and be able to be honest with the woman about what it is I do and don't want to do, whether or not it's today or when I turn 50 years old, that brings me peace of mind. And the thing is, anything that I want to do that is not detrimental to you in my mind is what I'm going to present to you. If you don't agree with that, you have the option to move away from it before it becomes detrimental. So if you choose to stay, then that means that it's not detrimental. So therefore, we shouldn't have any problems, correct?
Lady, do I have any ladies in the room that would like to say something or a point to make to Bean in this regard? Anybody?
Yes, please. I would love to hear your perspectives.
Anybody agree, disagree?
I see your face right there. I see the.
It's like a smoothie. I'm trying to process it all.
Okay. Okay. You're off the rip though. Quita says she agrees. Now, what do you agree with, Quita?
I agree with what he's saying, because at the end of the day, like, I don't belong to you. I am my own person. I don't belong to you. So I always say, these hoes ain't mine. I can't get mad at somebody, or I can't get mad at a situation or anything else that does not belong to me. I'm not going to be mad over somebody that don't belong to me.
So if you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't feel like he belongs to you and you belong to him?
If I'm in a relationship, yes.
But now, are you on the same page as Bean, where you don't think you'll be in a relationship? Or
I'm not saying that I don't think I will be, but as of now, I'm not trying to be in one.
Okay, so you're more in situationships as well.
Not in a situationship.
So you're just single. You're just nothing.
Yes.
Okay, but if at some point you're gonna want some sort of some sort of a partner. You're gonna want sex or dates or something, right? Like,
you can go on dates and be single. My dates is litty right now. Do you know that?
Okay.
But that's the thing. Why does, this is my question, and especially to which one of you lovely ladies are married? I know Peaches is married and you are married. So my question to you is, as a married woman, what is it that makes let's just call it a situationship, since that's what you described it as. What makes the interaction that a man and a woman has between them not valid because it's not in the parameters of a relationship? What about it makes it invalid? Like, for example, she just says she's single and she doesn't want to be with anybody, and Dot says, well, you're going to want a mate at some point. She can have a mate. She can have as many mates as she wants to have. But why is that wrong in regards to anybody interacting with the opposite sex? Why do people look at that as being wrong as a married woman who, how long have you been married? 15 years. As a married woman of 15 years, what do you think, going through the things that I'm sure you probably have went through in your relationship, what do you think makes it so scary to people to just live a life of I'm going to do what works for me and not have to fit into this box.
Sharita, come close right there.
The pressure. It's hard, I would say, marriage. So the first thing you have to establish is commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And a commitment is different from everything y'all are talking about. Are these ships going here and there, meeting people? But when you're in a committed, God-driven, and I'll say that because that's what me and my husband's foundation is, then it's different. You know, no man put us under. That includes me and him. So we go through our ups and downs. And what is wrong, I would say, with my experience is for you to establish a connection with another person outside of the circle, and I don't know about it. And then when that person gets in my presence, they know who I am, and I don't know who they are.
So the deceit of it all, the deception.
That can be a problem when, you know, you're establishing relationships outside of our relationship. Oh, this my friend, blah, blah, blah. It's not your friend because they're not my friend. Anybody that's my friend, I break bread with them, they come in my house. If I don't know this young lady or young man, they're not your friend until we establish that as a team, because we have a family, we have children to think about, so you don't want everybody around that. So when you say wrong and right in a relationship, it's definitely what you establish going in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what you say.
And going in, I hear you saying that they have to be able to deal with whatever makes you comfortable. So my question to you would be, so what is your compromise to do whatever they need to make them comfortable to be in the relationship with you? Because you're going to have some compromise with someone in order to say, well, if I feel like I want to be of the Asian persuasion and you're black, then I'll never be Asian. But if I understand that, then what's good for the goose, good for the gander.
Right. That's a very good question.
If you have that understanding, then you have to relax something about you in order for this person to be in your presence.
Right. Correct.
So that would be my challenge for you. What are you relaxing? Because it can't be what I want.
Right.
Because that's not
right. And that's the thing. That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that question. The thing with me is this. What a woman wants is love, affection, you know what I mean, to be able to trust the man, to be able to depend on the man, for a man to feel safe, to make them feel safe, to be able to do all of these things. I do all of those things. Everything, any woman that comes into my life, my goal is to make sure that I enhance her life in some way that it wasn't before I entered it. That's my job. And that's what my job is going to continuously be if you choose to deal with me under the parameters under which I establish what I am and am not willing to do. I'm willing to give you all the things that make you happy, but the thing is that commitment that you're talking about.
That's what makes it
That's
happy,
what
man.
make it. But no.
The commitment is what makes it happy. You're not willing to give her the biggest thing that she wants.
Let me tell you something. The commitment
is you.
The commitment is what makes them be able to go out and stand in front of the world and say, hey, look what I got.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
But that's not
you
my
want to do
problem.
that.
No. I want to do that.
You want
but
to have
the thing
somebody
is,
that you brag about?
No. Not brag about in the sense of, yeah, nigga, I'm winning. I'm talking about be able to be comfortable with what you do every single day in your house. Only at the end of the day, the only opinions that matter in a relationship between anybody is you and that person.
Correct.
If me and you have a disagreement, I can't call one of our homeboys and settle it with him. I got to settle it with you, no matter what he says. So what the commitment is, in my mind, in my opinion, to a woman is to be able to go stand out and not be ashamed that she's not living in the same parameters as people who are not going to look at her and be like, bitch, you dumb for dealing with that. And that's the thing. If I go into it telling you that this is what it's going to be, and you make the decision say, hey, okay, I'm willing to deal with that as long as I'm able to get the love, affection, and all of that type of shit. As long as I'm doing that, then you good. Then we shouldn't have any problems. But the moment when you start to feel like that noise that comes from the outside of people like saying, hey, what y'all doing? Y'all done been dealing with each other for a long time. He don't go with you yet. And now all of a sudden, all of the shit that makes you feel happy that I do with you and for you, now it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's not valid anymore because somebody else has told you that what you doing ain't right. So that's what it is that I am not willing to commit to. I'm not committing to that mentality. If what I'm doing for you is only going to be valid if I'm only doing it with you, then you need to go find the man who's only going to do it with you.
And see, now I respect that and I understand that, and that's cool to go in there with that foundation. And if she agrees with that, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But the issue that I have from your perspective is the frowned upon that you have for people who do find themselves wanting to be in relationships.
I don't frown upon people who get in a relationship. I just think it's dumb.
Fact.
That for me,
Fact.
I'm not mad at you. I love you. I love Peaches and 50's relationship. I wouldn't be at their house all the time if I didn't.
Absolutely.
I love their relationship. For people who it works for, cool, it works for you. I'm not against that. If certain people it works for, it just don't work for me.
Right.
And my perspective is, it ain't gonna work for me. So therefore, people who out there who think like me, I'm representing those people. But I'm not shitting on nobody who's in a relationship. I just think it's stupid.
Well, that's how we felt.
Oh, man.
All of us in relationships who have said, you know what, we're going to be with somebody forever. We feel like Bean looks at us like we're some freaking idiots.
Well,
and we're not.
but
we
no.
have just decided, Bean, that there's somebody whose life we would like to put above our own. There's somebody. Yeah,
That's a good way of putting it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's a good way of putting it. And it's not anything wrong with
you look down your nose at us, Bean.
No, I don't look
Yes,
down
you
my
do.
nose at you.
Yes, you do.
You look down your nose at yourself because this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, for example, I give you a perfect example of why that shouldn't be a problem.
Let me hear it.
Do you like soccer?
Not particularly.
No, you wouldn't sit down and watch a whole soccer game,
Not
would you?
particularly.
So if somebody say soccer dumb as fuck, it's not going to bother you too tough, is it?
No, it's not going to bother me.
But if you're a soccer lover, then somebody saying that soccer is dumb as fuck going to make you mad.
Absolutely.
But why should it?
Because I love soccer.
Okay, and is it stopping you from loving soccer that they don't?
It's not, but it starts a conversation. It starts a dialogue.
That you choose to incorporate yourself in. You're making a choice to pay attention to that type of shit. I'm not making you feel a certain way because I'm not saying it to make you feel a certain way, but your disconnect with whatever it is that's going on with your own mentality might make you feel like, hey man, fuck you, man. I like what I'm doing. Okay, cool. Good for you. Keep doing it.
But isn't that but you confusing me?
It shouldn't be.
You are in the aspect of that's the whole dynamic of the 32 Good Minutes, Bean. The dynamic is the fact that you're single and your views on marriage and relationship are totally opposite.
Right, and they're always going to be totally opposite.
You think so?
Yes, they're always going to be.
You don't think there's
but
one
I'm not
woman,
saying you're wrong.
You don't think there's a situation where you would want to actually stay with just one woman and she to you and you to her? You don't think that situation will ever present itself?
No. No, why? No, not at all.
And that's not selfish.
No, what's selfish would be me pretending that I felt that way.
But I don't think it's not
to
pretending.
hold on. Yes, it would be because you're not going to do. How do you, as a man in any capacity? And I have a question for you too. Matter of fact, let me ask the question to you because this leads into the question for you. As a married man, somebody wanted to ask you this question, Dot. When a man cheats on a woman, and then he gets his woman to take him back and forgive him. At that moment, he now wants her never to bring this shit up no more and not talk about it and act like it never happened. So at the end of the day, where's your consequence for what you're doing?
Where did this congregation come from in the audience of just ums and ahs?
Where's your consequence coming from? Because what you just asked me that I said I would never do is based in that mentality. So as a married man, if you cheat on your wife and she forgives you and takes you back, that means that you went against everything that you said you was going to do when you stood at that altar in front of God.
Yeah.
So she takes you back, and now you want her to act like the shit never happened. Where's your consequence? What is the consequence that you have to deal with as a married man?
I think that is the consequence. The living with that forever is the consequence. The fact that every time she brings that up, you two have to deal with that. See, there's a misconception that men don't have feelings as well. Growing up, a lot of times you told that as a male or as a dude, you always told, oh, you can only be sad, or well, you can't be sad. You can just be angry or happy. That's it. But we have emotions as well. And the fact that when you decide to marry somebody, you're really saying that you love this person. And you want to do everything in your power to make them happy for the rest of their lives. You mean that. When you say that in front of God, when you say that in front of the witnesses, your family, you mean that shit. You mean it. Now, when things happen in a relationship, and if you do slip up and you do cheat, and she does forgive you for that, the consequence is you trying to make this right forever. You trying to put together each broken part of her heart for the rest of your life. Every time she brings this up, whether y'all at a restaurant and the waitress got the same name as the bitch you fucked with, and she got them, and now the whole fucking dinner is fucked up. Well, you have to deal with that. You got to deal with that shit forever. That is your consequence. You don't get to remove yourself from this shit. Now, so I do not agree with the whole, oh, you don't get to talk about this shit no more. That's not fair. That's not fair on any level. Now, the reality is, the reason he shoots out, he don't want to talk about that shit, is the same reason you shoot out, this shit is over. It's an emotional thing you say right there in the moment. The same way you say, oh, this shit is over. I don't want to do this no more. Fuck this. You're just trying to divert the attention. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to deal with it. He's doing the same immature thing. When he jumps out there and says, fuck that, why you always bringing this shit up? Because he's hurt. Honestly, he's embarrassed. A lot of women don't realize that or understand that. When you hurt the person that you know got your back, the only person in this world that will ride for you when nobody else will ride for you. When you sitting on the side of the road, your car overheating, this motherfucker's in the car with you. When y'all broke as fuck and y'all ain't got no money and y'all trying to figure out how bills gonna be paid, how the kids gonna be taken care of, this motherfucker, when you hurt them, that shit hurts you. And men don't really know how to deal with emotions well a lot of times. So a lot of times the only way we know how to deal with that emotion is striking back, saying a bunch of mean things to hurt you so that we can just end the conversation. It doesn't resolve anything, but the absence of the conversation to the man feels like the situation is resolved. We don't realize that the woman is going to crying in the middle of the night while you still sleep. We don't see that part. Correct. And as men, we don't deal with that type of shit well.
Correct. And I agree.
So that's our consequence, being our consequence. To answer your question, I apologize. To answer our question, and to the ladies in the room, the consequence is to a man who has married you, that man loves you. He never wanted to hurt you. Now, and honestly, it's almost like a chemical imbalance, right? Like, why will Josh Gordon never play in the NFL again? Because he smokes weed. For those who don't know who Josh Gordon is, he was a phenomenal fucking football player. But he cannot play in the NFL because he fails every drug test. Now, if you told somebody, look, I'm going to give you $15 million a year, all you have to do is not smoke weed. To everybody in the room, it looks like that's simple. Who wouldn't do that? Well, clearly he can't do that. That is a chemical imbalance of some sort. The same as in a relationship. When you marry, when you know that when you do this shit, you're going to fuck her up forever. All that trust, all that shit is going out the fucking window. And you still do that shit? That's a chemical imbalance, some sort of fucked up shit going on. Okay, and I agree with that. It's some type of fucked up shit going on. So who is responsible for making sure that doesn't go on? You. Correct. 100%,
you, right?
100%.
So at what point, as a man, do you sit yourself down and say, hey, who am I? What do I want? What do I want to do? What do I want my life to look like? And how am I going to incorporate anybody else into this? Like, that's the thing. All that, I need somebody to be there with me and all of that type of stuff and hold you down. That's cool. That's the way life works. You build relationships with people because as a man who loves women, I love women. As a man who loves women, you love women. It's just the natural order of Absolutely. The way things are. So before you choose to bring somebody into whatever it is you have going on in your life, you have to sit down and adjust your own ego, separate it, and say what it is that you will and won't do. And you have to know that. And you have to tell the woman that as quickly as possible, even before you do anything wrong. Because if you know that when you're out, you're fighting, not fucking another chick. You fighting it. Every time you out, you fighting it. And you're not going to get no cool points for that if you're in a relationship or you married, because that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. That's what you told God you was going to do. Yeah. So therefore, you have a responsibility to check yourself and say, hey, if you really love this woman like you said you love her when you stand in front of that altar, to sit her down and say, hey, baby, I'm having some transgressions in my mind. My chemical imbalance is kicking the fuck up. This is what can we do? That's real. And what can we do? And in all reality, and you can't, and most men can't do that because you haven't established a communication relationship with this woman that's based on you being able to be honest with her. Be honest with her. Because you done already told her, I would never, baby. I couldn't. I wouldn't. When you know in your mind that you could. So if you love her as much as you think that she loves you and you know that she loves you, how do you not care enough about her to sit her down and say, hey, this is where I'm at with it. This is what I got going on. Because the reality, I think being the reality is you try to strengthen yourself by See, here's the thing about like temptations and shit. A lot of people try to avoid temptation, and you cannot avoid temptation. You have to remove temptation. You have to remove yourself from it. For example, a lot of times I was having a lot of problems. Or you have to determine what temptation is to you. See, your temptation ain't the same as mine. Correct. But whatever your temptation is, you can't just avoid it being. No, you're not going to avoid it. And that's the thing. Whatever that temptation is, you have to accept it, learn it, and then you either embrace it or you just remove yourself from it. See, that's the thing. The things that you will lose your wife over, I'm never going to have those problems in my life.
Correct.
I'm not, because I already have enough problems that I can't avoid. So I'm not going to choose to bring a problem into my life that I can avoid.
But there are problems that you have in your life, right? That the aid of a woman or the aid of somebody that has your back are super, super beneficial, Bean.
Yes, very
That's
much
super
so. They will
rewarding, Bean.
definitely be beneficial.
And so there are joys that I will experience that you will never experience.
Maybe so.
And
there's
so it works the exact same way.
You're absolutely right. But those joys that you may experience that I will never experience, I have learned to accept that I might not ever experience those joys. Because
and when you get married, you try to accept the fact that those joys that you speak of, you'll never experience as well. See,
okay,
that's the whole bargain. That's the whole thing.
That's very true. So why is it that, or from your perspective, it fails so horribly all the time?
It fails so horribly all the
Yes,
time?
your ability to let go of that temptation. Why is it so hard for married men to let go of the temptation of fucking other women?
Because one is difficult, but two, because of just the society that we in. Like, and especially when you keep yourself or you surround yourself in certain environments where that type of interaction, that type of female that is engaging and trying to come up or trying to goddamn get her trying to get her come up, have her 5 minutes of fame. When that right there is so prevalent in our society, you have to remove yourself from that. Like, for example, when Sharita says her relationship is based on what?
Commitment.
No, God.
Oh yeah, well, God.
That's
yeah,
the difference. That I truly believe that is the difference. The relationship, the founder, and for however you view God or whatever you view God, some people are not religious, some people are more spiritual. So, but from my standpoint, I'm religious, right?
Okay.
And I'm spiritual as well. And if the relationship is built on God, then in my opinion, I really believe that you have a higher success rate in that regard, because you do have something you can fall back on.
Okay, ladies, I have a question, and any one of you can answer this. You hearing us talk about these two different perspectives right now, and we have women who are here from both avenues and being single and married. Which is more important to you? And you all can answer this: love or respect? Like, because I can love you and disrespect you, but I still love you. I can love you and disrespect you if it's based off love, right? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I'm gonna tell you, y'all all saying nope, and I'm glad y'all said nope. I'm gonna ask y'all a series of questions, and I just want yes or no answers from y'all. It's gonna be 3 questions, okay? From everybody. Do you have a car?
Yes.
Do you have a cell phone?
Yes.
Do you text and drive?
Yes.
So is it safe to say that you don't love your life?
No.
It's not safe to say that, right? Even though you're taking a risk of flipping your fucking car over to tell somebody you're gonna be there in 5 minutes. You take that risk every time, but you don't think about it as that when you're doing it, because it's just what you do. So you can easily love something and disrespect it, because you know you're not supposed to text and drive when you're driving, and you done almost hit everybody in here and almost one time.
Yeah.
But that still don't stop you from doing it. But a level of respect, like once you if you was to crash your car from texting and driving, you probably wouldn't do it no more. And it make you respect it. It make you respect the reality of, oh, this shit is real. So which one do you think you should go into a relationship making a man give you first? Should you search for love or should you search for respect?
First, respect.
Okay, so how do you establish respect with a man from each of you, just quickly? If I was coming on to each and every one of y'all, even let's just say figuratively, if you weren't married, how do you establish that respect in the first couple of conversations that you have with a man?
Hold on for 1 second. We got LaShonda. Yes. Step up right there.
I would say being open and honest with what you were saying in regards to what you were saying. I agree, but I don't agree. As long as you've already set that foundation of what it will and won't be, then again, that would leave the floor open to me as to whether or not it was something I want to deal with. But you have to have an open line of communication.
Okay. So you just you tell a man immediately, be honest with me.
Yes.
Tell me the truth.
That's my biggest thing. Like, don't lie to me.
How about you?
Well, with me, I would say the respect thing would come through how we communicate with each other, the type of language that we use, and things like that. And just, being open and honest, but definitely being dependable, somebody who I can depend on whenever I need you for whatever situation may be, anything that happens, for us to be able to have that respect and concern about each other.
Okay. How about you, baby?
Oh,
I agree with what she said because it's all about tone and verbiage that you use, the way you deliver it. Because you can say something disrespectful but politely. So it all depends on how you say it, how you're addressing it to me.
You've mastered the disrespectful politeness?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
How about you, sweetheart?
I would definitely say respect. First off, I need you to tell me the truth. I need you to lay everything out. Have enough respect for me to make the choice and decision if I want to love you in the period. You know, before we get into love, like give me the option to know whether or not if I want to love you or not. Be upfront with me. Let me know what you have going on. And just have that communication together so we know like where we want to end up with that. So respect for me most definitely will have to come first before love.
Right. So you heard every woman has gave the answer of honesty.
And you heard the buzzer. We have finished 32 good minutes. So
we have?
This is overtime.
Oh, man.
32 good minutes are up.
That's amazing.
32 good minutes are up.
That's amazing.
We're in overtime at this point.
Oh, listen, but...
So wrap it up. Like Usher needs to. I can't finish on an Usher joke?
You can do what you want to do, man. Sorry, Ush. But you heard every woman in here just say honesty, right?
Correct.
And what I want you guys to understand, right?
Too.
We did, but what I want you guys to understand in closing is this: it's very difficult for a man to be upfront with women in that regard, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the reality of the situation is this: our goal, for the most part, is to get you. We have to get you. So, in order to get you, we want to present ourselves in a manner in which is as easily digestible as possible. For the most part, that's what most men trying to do. They trying to say whatever it is that needs to be said to make sure that they don't fuck up the opportunity of them getting some pussy.
It's like we trying to talk to a lone person. You're trying to put on your white voice so you can get them to
But the reality is, as much as I hear women say that they want a man to be honest, when you hear me talk, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. A man is going to tell you, I don't ever want to be with you. I don't have any desire to be in a relationship with you. I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do. If that includes another woman, that's going to be the case. I promise to not cause you any harm. I take care of myself first, so I'm not going to bring you any harm. But this is what you're dealing with.
And now, but you really believe that? You really believe that that's every male's logic, and it's not.
No, I'm not saying that that's every male's logic.
You said, but you just told them, an honest man. That's what you're doing, and
no,
you're
because
not
if you're a single man,
honest men.
No, if you're a single man, 9 times out of 10, if you're a single man,
he's not going in there saying, "Listen, I never want to be."
No.
He's not.
But right, he's not.
Is not. Is he honest?
Wait,
is he honestly saying, "Yes, I want to have sex with you"? Absolutely. If he's approaching you and trying to get your number and all that, yes, he wants to fuck, no question. But to think that every dude is out there saying, or the majority of dudes are out there saying that they only want to I don't want to be with you. I want to be with other women.
Most dudes aren't saying that. But what I'm saying is, a single man. If you're a single man and you're a handsome, smart, cool nigga.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
You a winner.
Yeah.
You out here getting it.
You out here getting it.
You have women that you're dealing with when you're single.
Correct.
Most of the time. Just like you said, most dudes don't think that. Most of the time, it's dudes who have multiple women that they have either dealing with or think that they dealing with in some capacity. The honesty that I'm talking about is not necessarily my personal perspective, but actually walking up to them and telling them the truth about whatever it is you have going on at that time. If you still fucking your baby mama, if you still got 6 other bitches that you're dealing with, whatever your truth is, your reality, it don't have to match mine. I'm just saying it's hard for a man to come up and say that because he know that if he come up and say, hey, I got 6 other chicks that I just did the same thing with earlier today. You're going to be like, oh, really? But then most women will look at you and be like, well, why did you even have to say that? Because that's what you asked me to do. You say you want honesty. So make sure, my theory to women is this. Make sure you want honesty. Find it first before you say you want it. Because it might not be what you want. You might just need to keep hearing the beautiful lies.
I appreciate everybody that was at this podcast. Did y'all enjoy yourselves? Yes. Is there anybody that would like to say anything in closing or before we get up out of here?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Anybody that had something on their mind when they came in here that they wanted to say to one of us and didn't get a chance to say it or anything like that?
Anybody.
I have something to say in closing.
Yes.
be prepared for an honest woman.
I love honest women.
Yeah,
I'd rather deal with an honest woman.
You're going to get the honesty that you're not expecting.
No, listen, I've checked my ego so much that I love it. I'd rather you tell me what's going on because that same energy that any woman that I deal with, I guarantee them that nobody will ever be able to come up and tell you shit about me that you ain't already heard come out my mouth. I want that same courtesy. Long as I ain't walking around holding hands with the hoe and I don't know you the hoe.
Yeah. Hey,
give me the option to know that I'm holding hands with the hoe.
You seen them at homecoming? They just be walking around smiling.
And he don't know.
My God.
He don't. 9 times out of 10, he don't know because y'all are just as and better at being full of shit than we are.
Oh man.
Exactly.
So just give me the option to know. I might like you like that. I don't give a fuck how many dicks you sucked. Hey, you're cool. You know how to play Madden. I don't like whatever it may be. Give me that option too. So I love an honest woman.
I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all very much. Did y'all learn something today? Did y'all enjoy yourselves? You learned something? Yes? All right.
Would y'all be willing to come back?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what it's all about, man.
Hey, man, make sure you go to iTunes and subscribe 32 Good Minutes, man, and share it, man, on Facebook. Listen, this is a dual podcast.
Yes, it is.
You can listen to it on iTunes. Thanks to my folks, O and Alton and Tunes. You can also check this joint out on Facebook.
Yes.
Just look for 32 Good Minutes on Facebook, and you can actually see the video, see the podcast as it went down.
Yes, and we are going to be doing a lot of interactive stuff for those people who are watching. So please email 32goodminutes@gmail.
Yep.
And no matter what it is, if it's relationship based, whatever your questions is, whatever you have going on, just let us know and we'll figure out a way to work you in. Because, like you said, that dudes have emotions too. Yeah. We need to help some dudes get some women.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because there's some dudes out here that be struggling.
Dudes have emailed and they've asked to be a part of the show in some capacity. Appreciate everybody for listening, man. And please share and subscribe and all types of stuff, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, yes.